Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media. If you reflect back on your classroom experiences as a college or university student, you can probably recall multiple information, especially when the lecturer was just going on and on and on, and you would be like, "What is he even saying?" And then when you take it back even further to your high school and your primary school, can you recall anything that really happened then? How much do you actually remember? More than likely, right? Well, Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." Whether Franklin realized it or not, he described what is referred to as multisensory learning. That is what we are discussing today on the parenting segment with Sharon Gherkin, who is the director of Dyslexia Association of South Africa. Good morning, Sharon.
To everybody that's listening, and thank you for attending. It's a very interesting topic, the multisensory learning.
It is indeed because like I mentioned, Benjamin Franklin didn't know what he was describing, but now we were like, okay, that was multisensory. Tell us more about it. What is it exactly?
Well, if you think about it, what we say is if we look at children in general, even yourself, as you were saying at university and college, and that if we read, they say we only likely in 2 weeks' time to remember 10% of what we've read. If we just hear it, we might in 2 weeks' time, 20% of that might be retained. If we like watching something, we might, in 30% of the case, in 2 weeks' time, it's retained. But now, how many parents tell you that their children watch National Geographic and they know all the information? Because it's auditory, so listening and seeing. So 50% of those children asked about a program they watched 2 weeks ago will remember what they learned. Okay? But then, if they've watched and learned about it, and then they can talk about it. So what did you learn about elephants? 70% of those children will remember what they had learned about elephants. Okay? Now, if they've learned about the elephant, they've heard about it, they've seen about it, and then you ask them to do real life activities like let's go and have a look at elephant dung, or let's discuss these things, let's work through them. 90% retention is held at that stage. And that's what multisensory learning is that, you know what, we look as teachers is that this topic of multisensory learning has been around for many decades, okay? And what we then say is that when we look at normal teaching, it has a limitation because that's two-dimensional. It's reading and writing, okay? And it doesn't try to address all our senses. We know that children are born to learn. I mean, even children with severe learning difficulties, they do learn to be able to sit. It just takes longer. And stand. It takes longer. So what multisensory teaching allows us to do is it allows us to teach to all children, and not only the children that learn by reading and writing. And so what are the multisensory ways of learning is that we always think of, first of all, there's a visual. So children like to have presentations of things. They like to see stuff. We have auditory. So people like to hear the information, but then they need to speak the information. Then we have kinetic learners. So a perfect example of a kinetic learner is if I told you how to bake a cake, you can't. If I just give you the recipe to read, you might still not be able to do it. But if I help you to make the cake, will you remember how to learn it? Yes. And that is, I have 3 basic ways of teaching, although there are more. So we look at kinetic, which is touch, hear, and see, our main multisensory organs that we learn through.
All right. What multisensory materials should a classroom may have?
You know what? We need to start multisensory already in the preschooling. I don't know when you were at school, but we used to use a lot of clay and modeling clay, and we used to learn by writing big letters in paint or stomping them out. We need to go back to basics. We rush children. If you think of South Africa having as many languages as it does, we don't ground the first language before we introduce a second language. So we need those things in the classroom are definitely, it's tactile, seeing, touching, feeling, and how many children have attention deficit? If we could get them to move or have movement breaks, we would get such ingrained learning, we wouldn't have problems.
All right, Sharon, please stay with us. We're going to take a quick break,
Sure.
but we'll continue thereafter.
Sure.
This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa. With over 80 years of experience, IG Hussein and Company are renowned for their quality Islamic wear and goods. IG Hussein and Company stock a variety of Islamic items, musallas, kitabs, Medina dates, perfumes and exclusive gifts. We guarantee you a unique and friendly shopping experience for the entire family. Visit our new branch in Overport at 202 Kenilworth Park, Brickfield Road. Open 7 days a week with ample parking and wheelchair friendly. Like us on Facebook or Instagram at IG Hussein for our latest promotions and updates. IG Hussein and Company, your Islamic lifestyle.
Fabric Direct, now open at 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban, offering you a variety of dress fabrics, curtaining, upholstery, wallpaper, and deco. Fabric Direct, quality, price, and a range that speaks for itself. 224 Brickfield Road, Overport, Durban. Fabric Direct, definitely worth a visit.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal's Breakfast Club aim to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend the day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner by visiting our website on www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Mari Mukwanda Show on Salam Media, and we are talking about multisensory learning with Sharon Gerken, the director of the Dyslexia Association of South Africa. Sharon, thank you for staying on the line. Now, when it comes to the approach for dyslexic students, which approach is better? The Slingerland method, the Orton-Gillingham method, or a multisensory?
Orton-Gillingham does use a multi-sensory way of dealing with dyslexia, and often I get asked which is the best course for student teachers or teachers to study, and a lot of the courses that are offered for dyslexics are not acknowledged as a qualification, whereas Orton-Gillingham is. We also have a really good one. It's called the Wilson program, and all of those are multisensory, so they use visual, auditory and movement in order to do the program.
So if a multisensory learning has been around for decades, why are we only knowing about it now or taking advantage of it now?
You're absolutely right. If you think about, I think Orton-Gillingham, if I stand under correction, started in the 1900s. It is just that if you think about our schooling system, it was created pre-war for the First World War, and children, how many more children are being diagnosed with attention deficit, dyslexia, learning difficulties, special learning needs? All of these is the education system needs to change, not the children. Children are developing and the world is changing. But school systems don't. And you're absolutely right. If we taught multisensory, it's not as expensive to teach multisensory because we can use what we have. We don't need everything delivered in books. So it's such a wonderful topic to be able to discuss with the board of educators as to why they haven't changed to multisensory learning.
I think something definitely needs to be done there, and it needs to start at the younger age because kids
Definitely.
learn through a touch, which is why we encourage them to play so that when they are playing, they are learning. They look at the surroundings. They learn about falling and getting back up. They learn about the different textures of things around them. So if we do not have multisensory learning, then we really have a problem with our education system. It's no point that we are going to be lowering the pass rate when we could be actually changing the way our kids are being taught in the classrooms. Now, which brings me to the question, are there special schools or academies that provide multisensory learning for students, or
You know what? Have exorbitant school fees. So, I get people phoning daily to say to me, Sharon, that their child, they think is dyslexic. So, first of all, how do we get children diagnosed in South Africa if you don't have a fair amount of money? And then where do we send our child? Because there are less and less special schools or remediation schools. And the ones that use the multisensory and the latest technologies are all going to cost you lots of money.
So, what can a parent do in that case? I mean, we want the best for our kids, but also if it's going to break our bank, we're probably just going to send them to a regular school and hope for the best.
The greatest thing that we can do as parents is there are so many, if you have internet access, there's so much you can learn from the internet. If you just type in multisensory reading into your internet browser, and a lot of these things will come up in YouTube. There's wonderful ways on how we can help our children. And if there's one empowering message I'd love to give mothers, is that if we give up on our children, there is no hope for them, because society cannot pay for our children to adapt, or the schools won't. We have to help our children. Empower yourself by learning as much as you can on multisensory teaching, because it does work. Okay, and start simply. Don't start big. Start simply. And if we as parents can't help, our children are lost.
Definitely. Right. Sharon, do you mind sharing your contact details with us?
Sure. Not. You're welcome to my email address is info at, obviously a hard word to spell, dyslexic, DYSLEXIC, South Africa, dyslexic, southafrica.com. And you're welcome to share my cell phone number, but on a WhatsApp basis. Okay. So people, I will answer as many messages that come in on a WhatsApp basis. Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for your time, Sharon.
Absolute pleasure. All right then. Bye-bye. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. That was Gherkin, the director of the Dyslexia Association of South Africa, talking about multisensory learning, something that needs to be implemented in our schooling system. We definitely need the basic education minister and the MECs. Everybody else involved in the education need to sit down and discuss the way forward for our students, as we've seen that the pass rates have been dropping, and it also contributes to the poverty levels and to the unemployment levels. So something definitely needs to be done about this, and it needs to start at a younger age, from preschool age, from grade R all the way up to matriculation. It was so fun when we used to go out for school trips or have a science class where we actually get to do the experiments ourselves. That is actually part of multisensory learning. And we remembered a lot when we got the opportunity to do the experiment ourselves. Okay, we didn't get an opportunity to dissect anything. I mean, we all look forward to dissecting stuff, but we got to put up the hydrogen peroxide and the sodium and mix all of those things together until we figure something out, and we learned what was the reaction of those chemicals. Now, if the teacher would be explaining that to us, which he did prior to, well, before we got to do the experiments, it was challenging. It was difficult to grasp and difficult to comprehend as well. So, if we have multisensory learning implemented in our schools, it would do wonders for our students, and definitely it will improve our pass rates, and we would not have to lower the pass rate mark to 30 and 40 and whatever other percentage. So yeah, guys, if you have any comments regarding multisensory learning, if you are a teacher or a parent who has done this, let us know. Send us your comments, questions, queries, or suggestions to our WhatsApp line on 061 766 0355, and you can also leave your comments in the comment section below. We are live on Facebook. It is 27 minutes after 11. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll be joined by parenting and relationship coach Pumelele Sakina Dolamo, discussing today's topic, which is mental health and marriage. Do stay with us.